Welcome to Speedy Walkthroughs, where we show just the important stuff to beating the game. For those watching for the first time, this will look different to a normal walkthrough. It's designed to show just the essentials so that you don't need to spend a long time watching this video. I won't talk about fighting specific enemies unless they're difficult, but I will show you where to go and what to do. Today we're playing Zillion, which is an exploration adventure game on the Master System and a fantastic hidden gem for the console. So when you start up the game, you're going to get the option to see all the commands, and if you do, it tells you a bit about what you can do within the game. There are terminals within the game where you enter your commands, and you do need an ID card to activate them. When you use them, you have these commands that are available to you. So I've listed out all these commands on the left so you don't have to remember them, but the game will tell you just in case you want to know. They're pretty self-explanatory, but I'll go over each command's use as they come up. Now you'll see as you start the game, you can jump and shoot. So it's kind of reverse to what you'd normally expect. Shoot is on the 2 button and jump is on the 1 button. But if you get through this first segment, you'll come down to the base area. And you can just press down to head down the lift. Now we won't be up to this room yet in the walkthrough, but I just want to show you some of the things that you can expect to see in a room. So if you shoot through these little capsules here, you can get various items. This item in the first capsule is a level up, and it looks like that little ship there. So you'll notice that my life is 160, my power is 1, jump is 2, level is 1. But if I collect this level up, all that's going to go up. So my life is 720 now, level's a bit better, jump does eventually get a bit better, and then yeah, you can like run a bit faster as well when you level up. So always grab level ups when you see your character will level out to the maximum level, but you get 3 characters in this game. So once you level out JJ, you can level out the rest. So the other thing you can get is an ID card. That's in here, for example, and you can see on the pause screen, I've got 1 ID card. Now that I've got the ID card, that can let me access the little terminals that are in most rooms. The other thing that you might see is bread. So if you're low on health, you can pick up that bread and that just restores your health. You only really need to grab that if you're low though. So eventually you'll come across rooms with these terminals in them, and that's really the heart of the game there. You might notice there's a door at the top right that I can't get through, but each room has a secret code that if you enter that code, the door opens in the room. So if I break open this terminal here, you'll see I've got this symbol. You might be wondering what that symbol is. It kind of looks pretty weird, but if I go into the terminal, you'll see what I mean. So the first symbol's a 1, the second one's a 2, the third one's a 3, and so on. Basically, the way these symbols work are they're numbers that are mirrored back and forth. So if you imagine that's 2 1s kind of side by side mirrored there. Same thing there is 2 2s, 2 3s, 2 6s, 2 7s, and so on. So the 4 that I saw just before was a 4 that corresponds to part of that code. And there's 4 numbers. So there's a 4, there's an 8, there's a 9, and there's a 5. 4, 8, 9, and 5. And it doesn't matter what order you enter them in, but you can enter them in the terminal to open the door. So I can just go 4, 5, 8, 9, and that'll work. Yes, take your ID card, the door is open. So that's not the only thing you can enter on terminals. You can enter all the codes that I've got up on the left of the screen, and they tell you those codes at the start of the game. So for example, if I wanted to stop that pesky laser that was bothering me, I could enter 2222, hit enter, and then the laser would stop. And I can walk through that without taking damage, which is really great. If I go back and I enter instead the 6666 code, that would be warp A, which would put me back to that starting elevator place. So that's pretty much how the codes work. Just be aware, I have got an ID card now, and if I enter the code, so I think that was like 4589 to open the door, and that'll open the door, and then I'll still have my ID card. But if instead I entered something like 2222 to stop the lasers, and I click enter, that'll chew up my ID card. So you want to be collecting ID cards as you go as much as you can through the game, and try not to use any of those commands on the left unless you really need to, because they will chew up your ID cards as you go. I'll talk a bit more about what each command does as we need it, but generally you only need to enter those 4-letter passwords to get through the game. Now you might be tempted to look at the passwords I get in this walkthrough and use the same ones for each room. Unfortunately, that won't work because every time you come into the room, the password is generated differently. So all of your passwords will be different to the ones that I get. And that happens on each playthrough. Okay, so now I'm going to show you where we're going to start going through the game. So when you come down through the elevator, you're going to come down into this section, which is the main base. And that's basically where the game branches off and starts from there. The premise of this game is you want to head all the way down through the base to the bottom, you want to blow up the base, and then you want to escape back out to the top. Now to blow up the base, you need 5 dark blue floppy disks to do that. So those are the key items in the game you're looking out for, and I'll show you those as we come across them. But that's the main goal of everything. Get the 5 floppy disks, get down to the bottom of the base. Now to do that, you need level ups, you need ID cards, you need gun power ups, and there's a couple extra characters you can unlock along the way. So we're going to take it from the top and work our way down, getting everything we need to. So as soon as you get down into this elevator, you want to take a left, head all the way left there, and that's actually going to be a secret wall. If you shoot through that, you'll be able to go left and you'll find yourself in that room that I showed you earlier with the level up and the ID card. That's our first destination. Okay, so let's see what that looks like in practice. You're basically going to run to the right here and go down the elevator. You take the left and we get to that secret wall. Make sure you do jump over these mines as you go. They're kind of tricky to get, but you will get the timing of it eventually. You're going to come to this wall just on the left here, and you basically just want to keep shooting it. It looks like it's a wall, but you can go straight through onto the left. You don't need this room to beat the game, but it is very helpful on the way. So it's these two up the top that we want to get. There's the level up and the key card, both very essential items. Okay, and back to the map screen. So when you come out of this room, you're going to head to the right and then go up the elevator this time. And then you'll head right into this room with the laser. In there, we're going to see that room before where I showed you the electricity code, and we're going to get that code and walk through. And here's what that looks like in practice. So we're going to head to the right here and go up the elevator. Then we come into this room here. So I'm going to start collecting all 4 pieces of my code, and you can already see that code is different to the one I showed you before. Now I don't want to take damage with this electricity, so I'm going to use up my key card to stop that electricity beam. So I'll stop that beam, I'm going to get my other 3 code pieces, there they are, and then there's another key card up here, so I can come down and enter my code. There we go, that code will open the door on the top right, and then we can head through to our next room. So just a reminder, my code will be different to yours, you'll need to actually check the capsules to find yours. These 3 capsules here all have key cards in them, so it's a really good idea to grab those. Going back to the map, we've just come through that electricity room. We're going to head down to the right and into this next room here. This is quite a complex room. You can see we've got the 3 key cards before, and then we've got this room here with the level up behind the doorways. So there's a few really key items in here. You can see there's the shooter on the left. That's going to allow us to break those stronger capsules. You can see 2 of those stronger capsules, they got a smoother coating to them. And then there's this level up hidden behind the doors. You can actually get that level up by ducking and shooting where the bread is, and I'll show you what that looks like. So going on through to this complicated room, just past the mines there. You can pretty much see I can't break any of those smooth white boxes yet until I have this shooter, and now I actually can. And that'll actually make the gun a bit stronger on enemies as well. So I'm going to break this wall. I'm just going to shoot by ducking, and then that's going to lower those walls. There actually is a code for this room, but you can't actually get the code because there's no capsules that have any code pieces in there. Now at this point, you can walk out to the left, or you can take the warp out. I'm going to go to the left in this video, but if you want to warp, it's just that warp code A to get back out here. Just coming back to the map, a walk to the left will look like going back past those mines, down the lift and across here. We're going to be heading into this room here, and then we're going to be taking the elevator up. To actually activate that elevator and get to the top of the room there, you're going to need the code from the bottom half of the room. And you can see there's a really key item in there, the goggles. That'll allow you to see any traps that might be hidden for you. So let's see what that looks like. Just coming back out this room, make sure you break the 3 capsules there to get the key cards if you haven't. Back past the electricity, and then back down the elevator to the right. Now you can see I'm going to go through the right pass to this room here. And then I'll be getting those code pieces. Make sure you take a note of where I'm getting these key cards and where they are in the maps that I've been showing, because you will need key cards pretty regularly to access these computers. So here I'm entering the code, and I've got an elevator coming up. And notice that you can't see any traps on this map yet, but keep your eye on that left-hand side, because as soon as I grab the goggles, I should be able to see the traps. And if you couldn't break that smooth white one, you've missed the gun upgrade. So I can see the traps there now. I'm just going to head back out to the left and then come down the lift near this room. Alright, going back to the map, we're going to head down this elevator here, and then we're going to head to the left, and basically just keep going to the left through these rooms. Take note of where the ID cards are, make sure you get those and get the codes to open all the doors. We're going to head all the way left to this elevator, head down it, and then head into this very special room here. Now notice the blue keycard thing up the top, that is really important. There's 5 of those in the game, and you need all 5 to beat the game. So that's our next destination. Alright, so we're going to head down this lift here, and then that brings us into that next sub area. So as I said, we're just going to move left through these rooms. Make sure you get the 2 key cards up the top of this room, because you'll need a lot of those at this point. Then we're going to enter the code and head left through the door. This room is the same thing, but you really don't want to hit that trap in the middle of the room, otherwise bad things will happen. So we're coming through here, and in this room you're going to notice there's that container on the very left side of the screen. That needs the 3rd gun upgrade to break it. So we can't get that capsule on the left yet, but we can enter the code and keep going to the left through this room. That brings us into this one, and we just get the code and go through it. Pretty much no avoiding that yellow trap there, but that just puts the people down the bottom there. Not really a big issue. We're going to enter the code here, and this opens up 2 paths. There's a lift that goes down, and there's the door that goes left. You can see the lift in the purple on the bottom of the screen there. There is a glitch that you can do on that lift, where if you die as it's changing screens, you can get invincibility for the rest of the game. So if you are finding this game a bit difficult, that is an option for you. You can get that invincibility. Okay, so we're heading left here, all the way down and then right, and that brings us to the room with the blue floppy disk. So we're going to head up to the top here, and we're going to get that blue floppy disk. That is really important for beating the game. You don't want to miss this item. I'm just going to stop that electric barrier so that I can get through it. There it is, the floppy. And that's 1 of 5 we're going to need to beat this game. So you're going to get all your code pieces. I have set off the trap there. We're going to enter them. There is a level up in that capsule on the right there, but unfortunately we don't have the jump height to get it. You will get jump upgrades soon. And we're going to head through to this next room here. So now that we've got that floppy disk, we're going to head to the right all the way through these rooms, and then we're going to be going down this lift and to the left. This room to the left just has a level up and a floppy disk, so it's a pretty good room to go in because it's pretty easy to get to. So as you come through this room here, you want to go under that little trap there, and then grab all these capsules up here. You can get to this room from above, but it's easier to get through now because we needed to come in from the left to get the floppy disk anyway. So we're going to enter our code and keep going to the right. Got an ID card there, and we're going to get the code here. Up through the electric barrier, and there. You can do a conveyor belt stop if you need to, but I don't find that too useful really. Entering the code, we're going to head up through that door and bring our way out to the right, and here we got a code again. And then we're going to head down the lift and left into that room with the level up for us. So there's a floppy disk and a level up. Alright, now we're going to head to the right out of that room with the ID card and the level up. Then we're going to go down the elevator and then take a left all the way to this lift area. Now this lift area has a wall that you can't break very easily, so we're going to have to shoot through that. And let's see what this looks like. So we're heading over here, we're going to get all the code pieces, avoiding the trap of course. Then that's going to spawn the lift for us. We head down that lift. Get the ID card, and left through this door here. Entering codes as we go along, making our way to the left. All the way to the left, more and more codes. Now that has one of those level 3 gun capsules that we can't break, so we just got to head left now. More codes. You might be noticing a theme with this game now, there's lots of codes. Left through here, and this was a bit I was talking about. You just have to duck and shoot that wall and you will make it to this elevator. Alright, now that we're through this elevator, we're going to head up here, and then we're going to go all the way down these 4 red rooms. So there's going to be lots of elevators that we unlock, and you might see there's one of those blue floppy disks down the bottom here, and a level up and a gun upgrade. So this is a really good room to get into. So this is the room we're aiming for, and then we're going to come down, grab this stuff, and then head all the way back up and out. So to achieve that, we're up through this elevator. We're going to be getting our code, stopping our electric lasers. The lasers are really good to stop here because you're going through them like 4 times. There's our code, and we're going to head down. Again, getting another code, stopping the lasers. And down again. Down here, you can just crawl under these lasers. And really importantly, we've got the gun upgrade, a level up, and another floppy disk. And that gun upgrade, now we can break those tier 3 capsules. Alright, so basically what we're going to do at this point is we're going to be coming up through this section. We're going to be going back up to the right and then back to this room where there was that tier 3 capsule and we got a floppy disk inside there that we really need to get. So let's see what this looks like, heading back up through, all the way through these elevators. We've already opened up all the doors in these rooms, so we're going the right way. Back down the elevator to the right, and at this capsule. This capsule has a floppy disk inside it, which is absolutely essential for beating the game. Alright, our next location is pretty close, so we've just got the floppy disk. We're going to head out to the left and then up a screen through the elevator, and then we're going to go to the right. That brings us to this room, and you can see we've got this character Apple behind the door there. So Apple is our second of 3rd playable characters, and she has different traits to JJ, who we're currently playing as. So some characters can jump higher, some characters can run a bit faster, some characters have more health or more firepower. So it's really good to experiment with each one and see what they can do. But realistically, the use for having 3 characters is basically like having 3 lives. Because if you're about to die as a character, you can swap out to a different character. So let's go and get Apple. You don't need to do this to beat the game, but it's kind of like the 100% definition of this game to get all the characters. So to get Apple, you're going up this elevator on the top left of the screen. Then we're going to get the code to go to the right. And if we use that code, that'll open the door and we'll get Apple. Note that Apple will start at the first level and with 0 gun power, so if you do see any level ups, it's good to actually pick those up when you're playing as Apple. You can swap to Apple by just doing it through the pause menu. So Apple will seem really weak when you first get her, and that's because she isn't leveled up and doesn't have any gun power. So make sure you're using her wisely. As you see items that are useful like that, maybe swap to Apple and grab those with her instead. So now that we've got our optional character Apple, we're going to head to the left, back down, up through this elevator, and then down to the next elevator. That brings us down into the next area, which is the final area of the game, but by far the hardest, longest, and most confusing area. This place is a huge maze. You have to open several doors from like other ends of the screen and do lots of backtracking. So I am going to take you through it step by step, but it will be the longest part of the game, and it's going to be very easy to get lost here. So once you got to the bottom of this elevator, you pretty much just want to go right and then up into this room. You're going to head straight up into the next room, and then you're going to take a left. That brings you into this big room which has the level up and the gun. Make sure you get those with Apple if you've unlocked her. And then you're going to head left out of that room to this elevator. Again, it's another one where you kind of shoot the wall to get through it and get back into that main elevator shaft. So let's see what that looks like now that we have Apple. We're heading left down here, back out to the elevator, down through these vertical red rooms, down the elevator and into that last very big blue area. So I've just stopped there for a level up, but we are heading down into that main bit. Heading back up. Then we're taking a left. Got the ID card. Make sure you really don't miss these jumps. Then we have the gun upgrade for Apple, and we're going to head left back into this elevator section here. So that sort of brings us back to the main elevator section. So we're going to head back down, right and up, kind of like what we did before, but instead of taking a left, we're going to take a right here. Then we're going to go up into this room, and you'll notice we're down in the bottom end of that room. We actually can't get up to the top. So here the PC is in the bottom half of the room, and the door that it opens is in the top half of the room. So we actually have to come into this room from the bottom, open the door, then leave and come back in this room from the top by doing a big loop around the map. So this is where this section gets really confusing, because you're opening doors from one side of the room and then coming back in the other side to actually use those doors. So let's show that in practice. We're going to head right here, back up through that area we came through before, right here, and then up through the elevator, once we have the keyword, of course. Now we're going to get the code here and open the door. You'll see the door open at the top of the room, but we can't go through that door quite yet. And back down the elevator. Alright, now that we've headed out of that room, we're going down the elevator and we're going to take a right. Then we're going to go up the elevator here, and then we're going to go right through this section. We're going to go up and then right again, and that'll bring us into this similar situation here. Again, we're at the bottom of a room, we can't get in the top. The PC's at the bottom to open the door at the top, but we're at the bottom. So you need to go to the bottom first, then go to the top. There are goggles in here, which is really good for Apple, and the code will actually open that purple elevator you can see on the top right there. That is really required to get through this game, or at least to get champ. So coming back to the gameplay here, we're taking the right, getting this keyword, getting the ID card. Make sure you keep grabbing those ID cards whenever you can. Going up and right. Then another up. Opening those doors. And then we're going to open up that lift in this room. We have the goggles on that bottom right. If we want, you can see me swapping to Apple there, because Apple didn't have the goggles, now she does. And we're going to head back out of this room. Okay, so now that we've opened that lift, we're heading back left out of that room. We're going to go down through these elevator sections, and that brings us to the room with the next blue floppy disk. So down through these lifts, get the floppy disk, then we're getting that code there. We get that code that we need, but head back up out of the room. Now that we're heading up out of this room, we're going up through this section, taking a left and going back up through that door that we opened before. In this room, we have to get a code and then head up the lift, and that brings us into this room, which has another gun upgrade. I'd recommend getting this with Apple because JJ is probably maxed out at this point. So heading back out of the blue floppy disk room, taking that left and then going up. If this door is closed, then you would have needed to open it from that terminal down below, like we did before. Getting the code here to open the lift. Entering the code. Back up through to get that gun upgrade. So you'll see me swap to Apple here, because Apple does need that gun upgrade. Alright. Now that we've got the gun upgrade, we're going to head right out of that room, head up, and then head right again. Then we're going to head right, and that brings us into the room with Champ. So this is another situation where doors are closed on one side we need to get through. So we want to open that door on the right, but we have to use the computer on the left. So we're going to get the code in this room and then open up that door for later. Alright, heading through here. Up the lift there. To the right, and getting that code to unlock for Champ. We'll be back in this room later, but from the other side. Alright, now that we're out of Champ's room, we're going to head left and then up. And that brings us into this room here. This is kind of complicated, but this is another situation where we're in the room on the right-hand side and we need to use the code on the right-hand side to open a door on the left-hand side, and then we're going to come back to this room later. So this is probably the point where you can start to see that this place is very easy to get lost in if you don't have a walkthrough. So let's see what that looks like. Heading up this elevator, and then the code pieces are just in here. That opens the door on the left, and we'll be back in here later on. Now that we've done that, we're heading down out of here, taking a left, and then kind of looping back around into that room. But first we're going to head into this room and just grab a level up and an ID card. So let's see that. We'll just head to the left through this room, entering the codes. Up through the elevator. Nice little level up there. And left to get that ID card and the level up. You don't need to come into this room, but it's nice just if you want it. Now that we've been in that nice little optional room, we're going to head all the way to the right and then kind of up and left. That brings us to this floppy disk area. So let's see what that looks like. I'm going to use the code on this door. Up through here and we've got that floppy disk. And then we're just going to head back out of this section. Alright, now that we've got that floppy disk, heading out, down and left, then we're going to go down through this, right, down again, then right, right, then right. We're actually going to be getting champ here. So this section is going to be optional, but it's a really good idea to get champ if you're trying to get like the 100% version of this game. Champ is just in here and we're going to get him from that little section there. So let's go and get champ. Just a reminder, this is optional, so you can skip it if you want, but I would recommend getting him. Down this elevator. And most of these rooms are already opened up, so it's really nice and quick for us. Up through here. I'm gonna use our key code on there, and we'll get champ. There we go. And right next to champ is a gun upgrade, so you want to turn straight into him and grab that gun there. Now one nice thing about opening this door here from before is we can go through here and grab a level up for champ and some goggles for champ right away. And then just head back up and out in this room. Heading out from this room, we're going to head to the right and down and left. And then we're going to head down to this elevator, go through it, head right, and then go all the way to the right of the map. We're then going to start heading down, where we get to this room with another gun upgrade and a terminal in it. Again, this is another one. You're coming in from the top to open a door on the bottom, then we'll come back through another way to get to the bottom of the room. So let's see that. Now we're going to head out of there, go down the lift. Now, there's a little thing up there that we can't reach yet, so we're not going to get that, but we can get a little level up here and open up the lift in this room. If we could get up to that capsule on the top right, we could actually go to the end of the game, so yeah, there's a reason we can't reach that. We're going to get the gun upgrade, and then we're going to enter these keywords. That'll open the door down on the bottom right there. That's pretty essential, opening that door. Next, now that we've opened the door, we're going to head back up out of that room. Head to the left, and then down, and then right. And that gets us to this room where we enter a code to open a door for later yet again. Alright, so let's see that. We're just heading to the left out here, going down the lift, going down again, entering the code from this room. And then coming back out into this room. There's a nice handy level up here, so that's kind of nice. We'll enter the code and then we'll head back out to the left. Alright, now we're done with that room. We're going to head out to the left and then up all the way to that elevator. Then we're going to head left and then down and left again. That brings us to this room where we're using a code and opening it again for later. So let's see that in practice. Heading up, through all the elevators, left, and then down again. Okay, now's the really exciting part because we're basically going to head to the end of the game. We were just in this room, so we're going to head back out right, and then all the way to the left, down this elevator that we just opened up, down here, and then we're going to head all the way to the right along this bottom section. We're going to head up and left, and then up again. Then we're going to head up this elevator and then just take a left here, which brings us to this really important red floppy disk. This was the one that was on the high ledge we couldn't reach earlier, and we need this to access that final computer to beat the game. So you just want to dip into this room and grab it on your way up to the last boss. Alright, so let's see this. We're heading up the elevator, heading left and down. That's the room we just opened up. Get a level up on our way through, get a code. Use that code to open the room. We're going to head all the way to the right through this bottom section, and then start heading up. We're on our way to that main computer and final boss area. So we opened a door there before from above, so that lets us get up through this elevator, and then we're going to get that red floppy disk like I said. Now that we got the red floppy disk, we're just heading out to the right, and we're going to head all the way up here into that main computer. So that main computer is where we're going to enter the code to sort of initiate the self-destruct sequence and destroy the base that we're in. That triggers kind of like the end of the game. Alright, so let's see that. So we're heading up through this suspiciously empty room here. You'll need all 5 of those blue floppy disks and the red keycard to get in here. And then we go to the main computer and we enter 8888, which is base explosion. And I guess if you need to cancel it, according to the left there, you can enter 9999, which is like what it told us at the start of the game. But we've entered that code here, which is great. Input it there, and then we're going to head out. And we basically just have to run out of the base really quickly. No worries, no issues. Oh no! So there's this big boss at the end of the game. It kind of slows you down during the escape sequence. But if you keep shooting it, you should be fine. You have to kind of aim for when its mouth is open. But you can see my technique there is not the greatest, but I'm still making it through the boss somehow. So there it is. I'll speed this up a bit. Basically, you'll just hit the boss a few times, and then it's all done for, and you can start escaping the base. Alright, so you should be able to watch my escape sequence to see what I do, but I will step it out for you. I'll go down there, through left, down that elevator, all the way left to the main elevator, and then head back up. That brings us back to this second area where I'm heading up the elevator, going to take a right and an up and a right and a down, and then we're going to head all the way right through here, back up there, left and then up. Then that brings us to this main area where we're heading left all the way, then up through that elevator there, back to the right and back up to that area that brings us back to the start of the game. If you can make it out of there before the timer runs out, then congratulations, you've beaten Zillion. Let's have a look and see what that looks like. Alright, so hopefully you got a bit less on your timer at the end here. I will zip through this pretty quickly. Left here, down the elevator, left. Luckily everything's open and there's no enemies around, so the escape's actually not too bad to do. Back up here. Again, remember if you're a high level, your running speed is a bit faster, so that can help you escape easier as well. Up through this elevator here. What I've stepped out isn't the only way to escape, it's just the most efficient way. Back out here, all the way up, and we're back to the start of the game. Onto the ship, and we've won. So that's Zillion on the Master System. It's a bit of an obscure game based after an anime. The sequel is very different on the Master System, but it's a really nice adventure game. A lot of people compare it to something like Metroid or Impossible Mission. And I think it's a really good one to check out on the Master System. So that's going to be pretty much all from me. If you enjoyed this content, I have a lot more walkthroughs on the channel, and if you really enjoyed it, a subscription is always appreciated. Hopefully you found this helpful, and just leave any questions in the comments if you have any. Thanks for watching.